You are listening to the We Hired a Sitter for This podcast.
We hired a sitter for this.
We have a roster of like 7 sitters.
I'm spending $3,000 on paints.
Do you go to therapy?
Never have, nah.
There was a small fire. I put it out.
Real talk, the stakes are too high with my baby.
Comedy, parenting, marriage, life.
We do it all.
I'm a dad and I'm busy.
I have an opinion. I don't know if it'll be right, but
I'm Patrick.
my name is Gastor.
We hired a sitter.
Hey everybody, welcome back to We Hired a Sitter for This. My name is Patrick.
What's
Holbert.
good? My name is Gastor. Almonte.
Yeah.
Saying it with the pause like my boy Patrick. I like
Put the cadence in there. I like it.
Bang. We here, baby. Style points early on, baby. Stuck the landing. Even the Russian judge gave us a 9.8.
Gastor, a.k.a. G, a.k.a. Coco G.
Hell yeah.
a.k.a. Mr. G.
That's me. Nah, that's the weatherman.
Yeah. Oh, I met Mr. G in
Really?
person. Yeah, in college.
In prison, you said?
Didn't I say in college? In person, I said.
Oh, in person.
Yeah,
Okay, I was about to say, word, Mr. G. Yo.
Did he pass away?
Oh, I don't know. I just got sad.
Anyway, WPIX, a New York City, a New York staple.
Yeah.
I had this program in college where I went to WPIX every Monday night to do this discussion group with this man, Ray, who led it. He passed away. This is 20 years ago now.
Oh, my God.
And we would go and we would get to meet different people from different departments of this TV station.
Yeah.
And one day we went down to the weather studio to meet Mr. G. And what a personality.
My man.
That guy was cool as hell.
Hell yeah, yo. I hope you're still alive and kicking, Mr. G.
Yeah,
but
maybe,
if you're not, I sincerely appreciated you, yo.
Yeah, maybe I'm confusing his death with Ray, and I can't even remember Ray's last name. Maybe I'm confused because when he passed away, it was very sad because we all love that guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
Local legend, yo.
WPIX is the local news in New York. So I grew up in the Hudson Valley where we would get local news, and that's how it works still. Like you get the local news you watch up there is the city news.
Yeah.
And yeah, I grew up watching WPX because the Yankees used to be on there too.
Yeah, yo.
Yeah, man.
They used to play like 4 movies a lot, you know?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, like yeah, what were the
I definitely know they did the Nightmare on Elm Street during Halloween.
Really?
Yeah. They did I was not a what was this my wife is constantly telling me about like movies that she's like, you didn't watch that on WPX? I was like, nah, they didn't call me.
It wasn't in the listings.
It wasn't there. I didn't get moved by that.
Yeah.
But I know there definitely was that. They did Indiana Jones on occasion. I was there for the whole pivot to the WB.
Uh-huh.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, it was a show that like teenage me wanted to watch because I thought the women were hot. Savannah.
Oh, I don't know that one.
Yeah.
It's like a teenage drama.
Not
type of
even.
show?
It was like 30-some-year-olds in Savannah, Georgia.
Oh, okay.
It was
like a CSI kind of thing?
It was like 90210, but
Okay.
for like 30-year-olds. They were all like rich 30-year-old like wives.
And you're a young teen boy?
I was like 12. Yeah, I was
Okay.
like, hell yeah. Like, oh,
Yeah,
I didn't know
yeah.
this was an option. Why we been watching these whack movies for?
Yeah.
You know? And it was like all drama. It was a lot of
Were
like.
they white ladies?
Mostly,
like,
yeah.
Like Real Housewives style?
Yeah, like that kind of energy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
And it was weird because like it would be like that then like the Wayans brothers. Like
Yeah.
I didn't understand their programming at all. You know what I mean? Both caught my attention, but I couldn't understand the pivot.
My father-in-law loved, and I've only heard this secondhand because I didn't know them, of course, when my wife was a tween or adolescent or whatever, but apparently my father-in-law loved Martin.
Okay.
And he is a white man. He's a Connecticut, well, he's from Mississippi, but lives in Connecticut, very white man, but loves Martin. A couple other like more like black shows
That's
he got
awesome.
really into from the sitcoms.
Huh.
But
see,
yeah,
I was a Fresh Prince kid. So
Fresh
I
Prince was one
enjoyed
of 'em?
Martin,
Yeah.
but I was more Fresh Prince.
yeah.
You know
So
what I mean?
how did you handle the slap? I mean, this is a 2-year-old story at this point.
Yeah,
but
dude.
did that affect you?
Yeah, I mean it hurt. I've had some of my heroes fall lately. You know what I mean? I'm a big P Diddy fan.
Oh,
You know
man.
what I mean? He's gone.
Is
Will
that
Smith's gone.
so? Do we think that's all real? Like the P Diddy stuff? I mean, it's got to be.
Yeah,
right?
it's got to be at this point, homie. There's so many people saying, "Yo, he wild."
Yeah.
I mean, when the Kid Cudi story is the wildest one to me.
But do you think he had something to do with Biggie's death?
Yes.
Really?
I don't necessarily know if he I won't go to the extreme of he hired or coordinated. I will say that I could see him being the cause.
Or I could see him being a little shrewd about capitalizing on it.
Yeah, that I know. I mean, that's a given. We saw that.
Knew how to turn it into a
I think
thing.
we saw that. That's a given to me.
Yeah.
But there's just as many rumors of the intentional hit was him.
Yeah.
So at the very least, there's ideas that people hated the guy enough to want to kill him, and Biggie's in the car.
Yeah.
He's also the kind of, I think he was the shit talker. Biggie just made cool songs.
Yeah, yeah.
So I could see somebody threatening Biggie. He'd be like, "I dare you to shoot Biggie,"
right.
And not believing it would get to that. I could see too many angles where at this point I can't look past anymore. Unfortunately, I think he's an evil dude.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Well, money. Do you think Diddy? Because Diddy, from what I remember from his history, he was a hustler he started as an intern at a label and then figured out how to help them promote the artists, and he just became he went from just this scrappy entrepreneurial minded young person to this mega mogul. You know. So do you think he was always evil, or do you think money and power just make people a little bit craven when they have when they think they can do whatever they want?
I got a lot of thoughts on this. I am of the belief now that anyone that's a billionaire is evil.
Yeah. My brother just said the other day there are no good billionaires.
Yeah, I can't see you getting to that kind of money and being good.
Yeah.
So if you got to that number, I gotta question you in general.
Yeah. And you're not. I mean, I guess some Mark Cuban. He's probably a billionaire.
He is a billionaire. I'm positive he's evil.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I can't prove it.
I liked him. I met him. I shot an interview with him. I like the guy. I gotta say,
he might be the best of the evil.
Yeah.
But
I like people. I would. Yeah. Billionaire, if you're not giving enough away of enough of your billions away so that you're downgrading back to millionaire, you're a bad person.
That's what I'm saying.
Because nobody needs that much money
at all. I would assume in my heart of hearts, I feel like Warren Buffett is super likable.
Yeah.
And I feel like
he drives that Honda Accord.
Yeah, he has his Coke a day. He talks about that Egg McMuffin, that McDonald's thing, or whatever. You know what I mean? I love a lot of he made his whole neighborhood rich, basically.
Yeah.
I get it. And but there's just something about getting to that level of money that you had to squash on somebody.
Yes.
And it's just to get to that level of bread, you crushed people.
Yeah.
It's just there's no other way around it.
You destroyed families and homes and souls.
And you did it purposefully.
Yeah.
There's no way to get to that number otherwise.
There are nations full of child laborers who
straight
are
up
bleeding in your name.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it is what it is. You know what I mean? You might be.
Wait, is Diddy a billionaire?
Yeah.
He is.
He might just barely be that.
On the cusp.
Yeah. But he's that. It was him, Dre, and Jay-Z. They're the only three of the hip hop dudes that made that.
Kanye had it, but
Kanye,
lost it.
Yeah. And again, I feel like you get to that number, just something go.
Yeah.
You lose it. It just is what it is. So yeah, I think in general that, and then B, the exceptions, if they exist, I don't know who they are, admittedly, but if they exist, I think it would show by them becoming better people when they're billionaires. I think money heightens who you are.
Yeah.
I do think there are, for example, I believe Rihanna is a billionaire. And the reason I don't believe she's evil is because I think that because of how she's acted when she's gotten money.
Right.
Everything about her life has been after her becoming a billionaire has been, oh shit, I'm blessed. I'm going to go enjoy the hell out of this and be a family person.
Yeah.
She's not oh, I have more power.
Yeah. I feel like once you get a certain amount of money, if you're not thinking about just quitting,
it's just weird to me that you're I need more. Yeah. So to me, that struck me as oh shit, she might genuinely just be one of the few billionaires that's a good person.
Yeah.
She got super rich. She said, "Yo, I like songs, but like I don't like it enough to like go through that shit. I want to have a baby. I found this cool guy I like. He's like, pretty cool. Let's make a baby together." And they having babies. And he's rich, but he's not a billionaire. So like, you want to still make rap songs? That's cute, honey. Go do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Knock yourself out.
Yeah. If you have so much money and you don't decide to just sit poolside for like months on end, something's wrong.
Exactly. It's weird.
Yeah,
Something's wrong with you in here.
Yeah.
So my guess would be is she could keep teasing forever. I'll keep believing it, but I don't think she's ever gonna put out another project, and she doesn't have to. She's given us culturally enough.
Yeah.
And I think she's gonna spend another decade just being a mother.
Yeah.
And then one day she's gonna, after doing most of the parenting that she wants to do and needs to do for her kid, she's gonna think about her legacy as a person.
Yeah.
And we're gonna see her be one of the few billionaires that's trying to do good.
Yeah. Okay.
But like, and that's, again, I might be projecting / hoping.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But just the fact that like after she became a billionaire, she's the only one I've seen that like did what everyone else in the world talks about doing.
Yeah.
I hit that number. Oh, I'm buying my mama house and I'm quitting.
Yes.
She's the only one that acted like that. Every other billionaire shows me they sociopaths.
Yeah.
Because they like, be like, I need to get all of it.
Well, I think there's also like, you know how we think of like, oh, if I get a certain amount of money, maybe I could get like this second house, or maybe I can get a car I've always wanted, or maybe I can, like, I start obsessing about like very specific items and things. I think billionaires start obsessing about bunkers and like apocalypse caves and like buying mountainsides, and they're like, how can I tap the most fresh water? Like in The Big Short, that guy who he says like the best investment to make now is water supply. Like the mega wealthy, like they want to know how to outlive us, you know what I mean, and survive around us when people do decide, oh, nobody should have this much money, let's go take it.
Right. Yeah, like Gates is buying like all that farmland. Like he owns like thousands of acres of farmland. Like there's like states where he's like the majority landowner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's creepy.
It's creepy. Like, yo, my man, you don't need no more. And you were supposed to be computers. What you doing over there?
Yeah.
You know, why you buying trees?
You don't want to be ranching.
Yeah. You know what I mean? It just look weird, dude. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, now all of that makes me think evil.
Yeah.
But then on top of that is that part of it. Like I feel like anyone that genuinely is a good person, when they get rich, it shows.
Yes.
And he hasn't shown that. The richer he's gotten, the more evil his stories have gotten.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What is the Kid Cudi element?
Kid Cudi was working on a song with his partner at the time. I'm blanking on her name right now. But she's the one that filed the charges that he settled the next day on. And in her suit that like got pulled a day later, she said that his car was blown up a day after he said, I'm gonna blow up his car. Like
an attempted car bombing, like a gangster movie?
Yeah. It wasn't to kill him, it was to like scare him though. But yeah, like he said like they were working together and he took it. He took it as a threat. So he was like, yo, I'm going to blow up that dude's car. And then the next day his car blew up.
That is cartoon
villainy. He's a supervillain, straight up.
What is that cartoon where you never see the guy's face? You only see his arm. What was that? Oh, my God.
That dude a wild boy, yo.
Old school. What was that? Oh, Inspector Gadget. Remember Inspector Gadget? The villain, you only saw his arm on the arm of the chair. You never saw who he... Like, and he would order, like, that's something a cartoon villain would do.
He a wild dude.
Like, he got like an Acme stick of dynamite. He's like, I'm gonna put this on his car.
Now the Will Smith thing,
that's crazy.
It has two elements. Like one, I don't think you should ever let anybody disrespect you the way he has allowed his partner to do so. That shit is wild work. You know what I mean?
Well, tell me more about that, because so we are in an era where people are having atypical marriages. Where people sleep with other people or they date other people, etc. Is that what people perceive as the disrespect, that she was doing that, or is it because she was with a much younger guy that was friends with their kids or something? What I've only so much of this pop culture shit, I see like little pieces of, and I'm just like, I don't have the space for this. I don't want to know. I can't dig into this. So what is the 1 minute version of how she disrespected him before the slap?
I would say it's the fact that while they seem to have had an open relationship, every single time that they show video of the two of them acknowledging it or discussing it, he looks really hurt.
Yeah.
Which lets me think that that wasn't an agreed upon thing.
Okay.
Whether it's the fact that the relationship was open or that it was with this young dude who was friends of their kid.
And is that the truth? Did I get that correct?
Yeah. The guy was a little older than their oldest son, but he was his friend.
But like 24.
Yeah, like in his mid-20s, and she's in like her late 40s, early 50s when this all went down.
Yeah.
So like, that played a role in it for sure.
Yeah.
But like, I think when I see them discuss it, both at like the round table, the show she had or whatever.
Yeah, I remember they had some family show.
Yeah, like it just, when you see that dude face, it doesn't look like this is something we co-signed together and I'm standing with her because I'm doing this too.
Yeah.
It looked like, yo, I'm doing this because I got to do this to save my family's rep. But like, this shit hurt.
Yeah, she's in charge.
Yeah, she's in charge. And that's wild because, like, that his whole aura was, like, the coolest dude in the world.
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody sees him as, like, a likable guy. And he was, like, that perfect balance of, like, something to aspire to while still being approachable, masculine, while not being like evil masculine.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's got masculinity, but like sense of humor, fun.
So like to see that torn down by this situation, it sucked.
Yeah, yeah.
And then on top of that, he's someone who I gotta say has kind of handled everything but that perfectly up until that point.
Yeah.
So the slap it sucked because it was like, bro, like, you finally got what you've been chasing career-wise. You were going to get proof that, like, this career pivot you made to acting, you reached the top of the mountain. You are getting the award, and everyone is cheering for you.
Right.
Everyone's a fan of you. You are super likable, and you became unlikable in one day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That reaction was so out of character. It wasn't you. And it undoes your work, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that, like, it sucks because, like, I think it was a human moment. Well, I feel like he's paid too big a price.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. Like, it was the time you can't fail, you know what I mean?
It is an interesting thing to examine as a father. Like, I don't know if you have ever witnessed your own father, like, lose it in public or let emotions get the best of him, like, or if it's happened to you.
Yeah.
I've certainly had moments where my emotions got the best of me. Luckily, it wasn't during an Oscars award show on television. But yeah, it's easy. It's easy sometimes things do get out of control and you raise your voice or you like react in a way that you're not proud of or whatever. But yeah, that guy did it on TV.
Yeah, and like that just sucks. The stakes are high, but now and because of that, like, it's never gonna get undone. There's nothing he's gonna do to fully go back to being viewed as the coolest dude in the world.
Well, I do kind of wonder though how much of this is men of our generation, because I think younger men than us are much easier to understand how open relationships work. Like the younger generations are really just doing all this stuff. But I'm curious, do you think any of these assumptions you're making about her disrespecting him or like he may look, you know, you can draw certain conclusions on how somebody looks on tape. Who knows what they were doing in the editing room while she's talking about the relationship.
Okay.
Do you think, is there anything you're bringing to that scenario from your own life that might be a projection on what you think he's actually feeling?
Nah, dude, that shit real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm sure there's some of that in the sense that, like, I got my own values and I got certain things that, again, I don't know if I would be comfortable in that dynamic, but more so, that's not the thing that's throwing me off. I'm peace with that. It's not the relationship I would be in, but I don't find that to be the weird part. I feel like the weird part was the way that he looked and the way that she handled that interaction.
Yeah.
It never felt like she was apologetic. Because even if they agreed upon that, I don't think she necessarily needed to apologize for doing that.
Yeah.
If they agreed on it, that's cool. But I do think it would have been interesting to see her be empathetic for what that becoming public was doing to his reputation.
Sure. Yeah.
Never saw that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like stuff like that is what I'm more like thrown off by. Like, yo, like you seeing this is throwing off my rep. You know what I mean? Something that like you have to admit you've seen me work very hard to build.
Right.
And while you're successful, our family's success is very much about my career.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I've done this for us and not just me, you, like the 5 or however many people live with us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like watching your partner not acknowledge that they did something that like genuinely damaged the thing that I've built for us is wild to me.
Yeah. It's so Shakespearean. Like if you think of how it all kind of came together in a crescendo in this like totally public square of the Oscars, like, and this incident that like people were obsessed with.
Hell yeah.
Like it's like such an interesting thing, and it's got so many layers of like, yeah, like masculinity and loyalty and family and different cultural approaches to it all, and it's 2 black men having this showdown in this way.
And then there's that aspect of it. Like as a stand-up, I'm pissed off because like I feel like stand-ups don't get respected as in terms of the arts. I think we're the least respected of the major art forms. People say that they respect it, but some people have already brought it up. One of the biggest things that shocked me is not that it shocked me, but that annoyed me, pardon me, was the lack of people in that room that stood up for Chris Rock. That whole room is filled with actors who don't like us, in my opinion.
Right. Yeah.
And they showed it in that moment.
Yeah.
We pretend to be peers because we're both artists.
Yeah.
But over and over again, actors, they put on this show.
Yeah.
At this award show, and they hire us because that's what we do well. We host events where
and you're the clown court jester.
Yeah, and then we do that well. They can't do that, and it's okay. I'm not saying they should be able to. It's just that's what we do well. So they bring one of us in.
Yeah.
But it annoys them that on their night, the person that they're most going to talk about is us and not them.
Yeah.
So every year on their biggest night, the most important person isn't one of them. And I think that's always bothered them.
But there's also that, then the flip side of that is they also look toward them almost like the help or something.
Yeah.
Like, which I experienced with you on a couple of those apartment shows. I don't know if the apartments you did weren't as some of them are very, very fancy buildings with very, very fancy people. And some of these people come to our little stand-up show and look at you like you're the help. Yeah. And it's very disconcerting.
It's very weird.
So I obviously I'm not comparing myself to Chris Rock on Oscars night on one of those, but that there's a lot of layers to those dynamics.
Yeah, so like there's like this whole idea of that, and when that went down, if you genuinely like saw what happened, like this is one of our freaking legends, you know what I mean? Like this is a peak of that art form, what has been done by that gentleman.
Yeah. And
he got disrespected by doing what was requested of him.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? He was making jokes.
Yeah.
And no one in the room was like, yo, that was out of pocket, Will. There wasn't people that jumped up. There was no security. Nobody talked to Will when he went, like, it none of the other actors, in fact, they cheered.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that blew my mind. I'm like, yo, like, y'all, I understand that y'all are like, maybe y'all thought it was part of the show or something, fine. Yeah. I tried to, like, think of ways to justify it, but, like, I was surprised at the lack of actors who, I guess they're actor first before artist first.
Yeah, yeah.
That didn't support a fellow artist who got disrespected doing their art.
Well, now, yeah, and you see some of this, how weird this stuff comes out with, like, this Nickelodeon documentary right now, or even the Danny Masterson verdict when what's his face wrote a letter of like
he's a great guy.
It's like what are these moves that actors decide on, like when to speak up or when not to speak up?
I don't get it.
It's really interesting. But yeah, I am scared of the day that I ever like really lose it on somebody for something. You know what I mean? Like I can remember a time my dad, we were like at some kind of event near where my dad has this shop, and I think one of his friends was cursing too much in front of us, and they were probably drinking, and I was little. This is like, I'm probably like 5 or 6 years old, so of course my memory is not going to serve me right, but I think one of my dad's buddies was using language he didn't want them to use around us, and somehow it got heated, and I remember them, it didn't come to punches, but it came to like grabbing throats or like pressing, like they had a physical encounter. And I just remember thinking like, this is fucking nuts and like scary, and like you hear when men start shouting at each other, it's like jarring to kids, you know? So yeah, I excuse me, I hope I never put my own kid through that. I mean, I and like I said, how fucking horrible and like embarrassing to do that in front of a whole country.
Word up,
people.
Real talk. I'm gonna be real. I'm probably gonna lose my temper at some point on TV. But I am very.
Well, you don't. Well, that's the thing too. Now you don't have to do it on TV. You just have to do it in front of somebody's phone.
Straight up, like, exactly. In the world, I lose my temper all the time. Yeah, it's gonna happen. The difference is that unfortunately, Will had for so long played it right that I genuinely believed he was perfect.
Yeah.
Like he convinced everyone that he's like, yep, I handle everything super smoothly. And you know, like he's a human. I know he has faults, but I'm gonna be until like 5 years ago, I didn't think he did. Yeah, that dude was just awesome.
That's like the perfect example. I mean, that's like he was essentially a child star, right?
Yeah,
probably
straight
late
up.
teens that he was on TV.
Late teens. And he was a teen when the music was popping.
Right. Yeah. So like to have a whole lifetime of learning how to be savvy in front of people. But I think that's true too in real life. People say all the time, it's like the creep who has the sleepover part. Like there's that guy on the news recently who was like putting roofies in the kids' like smoothies before bed or whatever. Like probably the classic thing of like, oh, he seemed like such a nice guy. Yeah. Those are the people you got to be aware of.
But I genuinely don't think he did something that he should be unforgivable for. You know what I mean? Like I think that he made a mistake that he should be able to recover from. It's just he did it when the stakes were so high that no one's gonna ever erase it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and then on top of that, because of that perfection rep, I tell people all the time, I fuck up. I mess up all the time. I promise you, there's at least one thing per episode of the podcast that I say that if I give it more thought, I'm like, yeah, that was stupid. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm okay with that. I own that. So but in turn, I'm hoping that builds in some leeway that if I mess up and be like, yo, that was me having a human moment. My bad. But like Will didn't have that cushion. Yeah. Every time I saw Will, he nailed it so perfectly that I didn't give it to him anymore. I just assumed he's always going to play it perfect. Yeah. You know what I mean? And the one time I'm like, if he messes up, it's definitely not going to be on TV at the Oscars. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah.
How about Michael Richards? He's got a memoir coming out soon.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm like, I gotta know. Will he explain himself in there? And I don't know if he ever even has publicly, but I want to know, like, will he talk about that?
The comedy club situation, right? Yeah. He does on, I don't remember the exacts of what he says, but he does on Comedians with Cars Getting Coffee.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So I'm sure he'll talk about it in the book some more.
Yeah.
But I know he regrets it.
Yeah, of course.
Also,
is something like that forgivable?
I think it is, but it also means you can't do it again. Not only the act, that's a given. You can't do the thing you did wrong. But I think he's banned from the art form.
Yeah.
Like you can't do stand up anymore. It just is what it is.
I don't even know what his deal. What was he ever even an actual stand up?
Yo,
I'm like, who even cares?
Thank you. Real talk. I think that's a big part of it, man. A lot of y'all be skipping steps.
Yeah.
Trying to jump on what we do.
Yeah.
And you ain't put in the time, and it shows, and then you have moments like that.
Yeah.
You know
I mean,
what
I'm kind of fine with it when it's like there's this club I did in New Jersey, and it had like hundreds of headshots on the wall, and I'm like looking at these headshots, I'm like, I don't recognize any of these people, and they're all too good looking to be comics. And I get up closer, it's all daytime TV stars, like from soap operas, and this comedy club's owner or somebody involved with it is obsessed with soaps, and they've built up this thing where they have soap opera stars come and they do like storytelling shows.
That's dope. Hell
and
yeah.
Q&As, but it's literally just like a panel.
He should have done that.
Yeah, exactly. And they make a ton of money because
awesome.
like all these housewives from New Jersey come out, and
80% of the door.
Yeah,
you charge $50. You going crazy?
Exactly.
Hell yeah, that's
and
awesome.
You could do that at a stand-up club. Just don't call it stand-up.
Exactly. That's all it is, B. Real talk. I'm trying to be in shows. I'm trying to be in movies acting.
Yeah.
But I ain't trying to star.
Right.
You know what I mean? I know my rank. You know what I'm qualified to play? Dominican bodega owners.
You know what? Where you missed your boat was Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Like, did you watch Breaking Bad?
I did. I love the show.
You see Bill Burr in there.
Yeah.
And I think Huel is a comic.
Yeah. Both of them, right?
Yeah. Yeah, Saint or Patrice on The Office.
Yeah,
you can.
I know what I could do, and it's a limited range. And if I ever decided to pivot to being acting, I would literally disappear for like 5, 6, 7 years
to become a master,
to become a entry level actor.
It would be
opinion.
like Batman Begins. Did you ever watch that?
Hell yeah.
You'd have a brown cloak on a iceberg with a staff, but you wouldn't be fighting. It would be method acting.
Yeah,
it would be.
You got to show that art form the respect it deserves.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like real talk. I feel like I'm just now getting good at stand up.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think it's wild work to think you can make that pivot automatically.
Yeah.
If I star in anything, knock on wood, if it's gonna be something where I'm playing a really close version of me,
right?
Where that's the only way I could do it. I respect that art form too much.
The Ryan Reynolds of bodega owners, sanitation worker.
Oh yeah. Anything with a Dickies
bouncer?
uniform, I'm here. I could do that.
Yeah. Dickies gardener. I think that would be a great character for you, where you are a gardener, maybe in a public school setting, but you give sage advice.
Yo, fun fact, I've actually debated on like doing like TikTok reel series of me being like a green thumb dude that yells.
Yelling at the plant.
Straight up.
Grow faster.
Grow faster. I love you. You know what I
mean? Miracle G.
Straight up, yo.
Miracle Grow.
I'm hearing about all the plant shit because Gabby got like 200 plants.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, like she went nuts during the like quarantine.
Did they legalize it here in New York yet?
Real talk, yo. Like they could definitely suspect my house for growing weed because of the amount of lights that are always on for some plant.
She got the hydroponic systems. And,
she got all like real talk. The backyard crazy.
Yeah.
The hallway is all plants.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We got a whole rotation. She got to have like too many plants require outdoor time, so like you got to rotate them in and out. You know what I mean? My son helps with it now. We order like sand and
that's amazing.
It's crazy. It's the whole thing.
That's cool. It's very educational.
Yeah.
Are you growing anything you can eat?
Quite a bit. We got a lot of peppers. What's the mint and what's the other
rosemary?
Rosemary. There's another thing too. I'm forgetting a couple other seasoning things.
Cilantro.
Yes,
nice.
Cilantro.
That's great.
Yeah, yo, she's going crazy.
Basil, you could do a lot with too.
I think that might be like in the plans.
Yeah, my father-in-law does basil and rosemary and mint on the porch, and he'll put it in recipes all the time. He's like such a talented cook, and it is cool to see something. Yeah, I grew this thing. Now I have like bags and bags of pesto in the freezer. That's awesome.
Pesto's awesome. I got her for our anniversary. I got her a citrus tree.
Nice.
It's like a lemon orange kind of thing that grows in the Philippines. I forget the name of it right now, but it like it was particularly.
I didn't know there was a middle between lemon and orange.
Yeah, yo, I'll get you the info for it, but like, and it's specifically like recommended if you want to grow citrus inside an apartment, like indoor. It's like it deals with the weather, the lack of outdoor weather, and it doesn't grow as tall as the others.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What was the anniversary?
What year was that? 15?
Oh, but I'm saying, what is your wedding anniversary date anyway?
Oh, December 10th.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Yeah,
remember that, you guys.
Come through. Send me gifts. I'll send the PO box.
So we're into this episode already, but we were talking about doing a kind of grab bag episode with some of these Reddit notes.
Hell yeah.
And hey, if we want to call this the halfway point, maybe we should remind our viewers and listeners that on April 20th,
we got a show.
We're doing a show up in Hurleyville, New York.
These two guys.
Yeah, we're gonna co-headline and have a great time. So
it'll be fun.
Come out. That's Sullivan County, New York. It's a few hours outside of New York City. I'm gonna drive. Hopefully we survive. But yeah, it's gonna be a good time.
I'm rooting for the car. You know what I mean? We'll answer questions at the end of the show too. We're gonna do some fun Q&A.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's gonna be a good vibe. We want to ask y'all some questions too. Why not? We flip the tables.
Totally. Yeah, that would be good to learn what goes on in Hurleyville, New York.
Hell yeah.
I was looking at a map and I assume it's hiking and fishing.
Oh, okay. I thought that's where like Bob Hurley was from.
Who's Bob Hurley?
Isn't he like a basketball player?
Oh, Bobby Hurley, yeah.
Right?
Was he the one who...
He was like a point guard, I think, at Duke or something.
Yeah. Yeah, Bobby Hurleyville, New York.
Oh, yeah.
We'll be there. All right, so here is... let's start with a generic one. This one says, at what age, in your opinion, does parenting get easier? Ooh. And it says, hi, I have a 3.5-year-old and a 1-year-old, both great kids, but out of curiosity, at what age did you feel a sigh of relief that maybe things are getting a little easier, and why? And I feel like that's a you question. Or actually, maybe I can answer. Yeah. Maybe I can answer this because my kid is turning 4 in June, so just a couple months. So I keep saying she's 3.5, but she's nearly 4.
Yeah.
And I will say in just the past 2 months, it has felt easier.
Hell yeah.
Where
man.
like I said, we can go to the airport. I can tell her she's got to walk. I can tell her stay close to me. I can say no, not a snack right now. We'll get one in a little bit. And it's all registering and it's finally connecting. And it feels way easier than even just 6 months ago. And definitely comparing these flights to last Christmas, a year and a half ago or whatever.
Yeah.
We flew all the way to Los Angeles with her, and the flight there was pure hell. It was like we were the family. We were the family with the screaming kid. It was embarrassing. It was really rough. And she's a kid, so we don't blame her.
Hell yeah,
but
you do.
It was really hard.
It's either her fault or your fault, Patrick.
Yeah.
All right. We got somebody got to own it.
Yeah. But it was so bad that it was and Ross and I believe talked about this openly on the podcast 2 summers ago, 2.5 years, when she was a year and a half old or whatever. It was rough on us as a couple. I was so close to relapsing and drinking again. I was fantasizing about just disappearing from the family. It was really, really hard. But now it's just, it's gotten super fun. And
that's a pivot, yo.
Yeah. No, it was.
I almost left you, honey, but now,
but now it's cool.
It's cool. We can play Candyland. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it's So anyway, how do you recall it being really hard at any point or getting easier at any specific age?
I think the first 2 years were the hardest for me. And I think they've gotten easier literally every year.
Yeah.
I don't think that's necessarily because they are easier. I just think that the things that I'm good at is what's happening more and more now. I don't think I'm necessarily this is my voice with the babies. Yo, it was good.
Yeah.
So those weren't my best years changing diapers and all of that stuff. I did it, but I sucked at it.
Yeah.
I don't got little fingers, so just everything baby, buttoning them up. I sucked at all that stuff.
Yeah.
But as they've gotten older, I've been able to have open discussion with them. They're seeing the things that I do well as an adult and coming to me with questions, and I'm able to help as much as Gabby does, but in a very different way from what she's been able to do, which is literally keep them alive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Aiden in particular, I think, like, has been the most recent one to kind of like really notice that, like, oh shit, I should ask dad questions like about stuff in general in life. Michaela did that earlier. Like, she realized, like, oh, this stuff that, like, she asks Gabby a lot of stuff, but she realized earlier than Aiden that, like, there's things that dad definitely knows.
Right.
Whereas Aiden, there were stuff that were very clearly, like, you should be asking dad, and he would still ask mom. Like, I'm like, why are you talking to her about your balls? Like, I'm the ball. Like, that's a dad question. You know what I mean?
This is the balls department.
Real talk, B. That's what I do. You know what I mean? Come on, homie.
we were given the same model.
Real talk, man. I seen it. I got it. I know what you do. I know what I do. Let's talk this out.
I know the weight limits.
Real talk.
The tension points.
I got the schematics. Okay.
Let me show you how to safely zip a zipper.
So yeah, like, there was this stuff that, like, it hurt that he would still, like, I would see, like, little things that, like, I noticed, and there was a point where, like, I would just call it out in front of them.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, you know both of us.
Yeah.
Who do you think is more likely to say yes to your question right now?
Yeah.
And I would see them come out to the living room, look at my wife, look at me, and then ask my wife a question that I'm like, you know she's going to say no. Why would you ask her?
Right.
And, like, on A, it bothered me as the dad that was getting ignored. B, it bothered me as someone that, like, loves game theory.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, like, you're bothering me that I haven't explained this to you well enough for you to understand. Like, close the sale.
Yeah.
Which one of the two of us is going to say yes right now?
Yeah.
So, like, I kept, like, literally drilling that into them. Like, yo, ask the right parent.
Right.
I'm not saying don't go to me for.
I'm trying to help you here.
Yeah, like, I'm gonna be the more adventurous one with certain things. You know what I mean? By the same token, yeah, there's times where, like, you're right, you should go to your mom. She's gonna have answers I don't.
Right.
So I'm not saying, like, pick me always, but be strategic.
Yeah,
like, whether it's getting the yes, that lets me know you're learning how to best approach a situation. Yeah. That's a genuine life skill I want you to develop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Real talk. So, like, stuff like that was really, like, irking me, and I've seen them slowly get better at that. And, like, the questions they're asking me are more, like, complicated and show an understanding of how life works and maturity works.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's exciting to see that, like, oh, like, I can they can go to me, and in turn, it's exciting for me because I feel like this is the thing I do well. I feel like I listen to my wife a lot, and I listen to my kids, and I'm able to, like.
You're an intellectual. You like a intellectual conversation or connection or, like. Yeah.
And, like, there's traditional dad things that being real Gabby does better than me. Like, so, like, even that I didn't have for a while. Like handyman shit, Gabby does all that.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? Like, she's the one with, like, the power drill.
Yeah.
She's the one in the backyard doing shit. I'm out on the road.
Right.
So, like, even those things that would have been a normal entry point, they still went to Gabby.
Right.
And then in terms of, like, sports things that would have been my bag, neither one of them are really into that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Michaela and I got into it with the art shit that kind of, like, let her see my world. But until maybe 6 months ago, Aiden, like, me and him didn't have those combos. And I've noticed this clicked, and, like, it's still weird for him. So, like, there's, like, a level of fear, I think, of like, this guy can kill me.
Yeah.
Just on some side shit.
Yeah.
So, like, he doesn't ask me the way he asks his mom. He'll, like, text me.
Yeah.
And he'll be like, yo, like, how do I do this? But he'll say it in a text, whereas his mom, he'll sit down and talk with her.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it sounds like you're saying maybe in the last handful of years you turned a corner from, like, child rearing to, like, connecting with them as people. Yeah. And obviously you're not trying to be your own kid's best friend or whatever, but, like,
not at all.
It sounds like you're finding common ground. Like, when you're building a new friendship, you figure out, like, oh, that's my buddy I watch the Yankees game with. This is my buddy that I go to hip hop shows with or whatever. You know, You're finding those common interests. My brother, his daughter is 8 and he loves Tool. You know the band Tool? Have you ever heard of them?
No.
Have you ever heard of the name of this band?
No.
Tool? I love that. That's incredible. They're like, they're not obviously they are massive. Like, they sell out arenas, but they're probably the they're like mainstream. It's not even heavy metal. It's like it's hard rock music. It's interesting stuff. You might like it.
I thought you were making like a Tim Allen reference.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he brought her. They are his favorite band. Like he loves Tool. He's always loved them, and he brought his 8-year-old to the show, which is like an intense experience for a young kid. And he said she appreciated it and she liked it, but she also wasn't as into it as he was hoping. I think I don't want to put words in his mouth, but my point is that 8 years old feels like that maybe that stuff can start happening where you're like really connecting on movies. Like, yeah, me and Franny and I, we're starting to have inside jokes or like catchphrases or whatever based on movies or shows or whatever. But like, I can't really intellectually connect with her yet. Right. But I think probably 8 or 9 years old, you can probably start doing that with your kid.
Hell yeah.
And that, of course, is a symbol of things getting easier. So I don't know. I hope this person, I hope we helped you.
There's light at the end of the tunnel, baby.
Reddit user who will never know that we ever talked about your post. All right, this one's sort of, so this episode comes out April 10th. We're recording near Easter. Here's an Easter question. But maybe we could apply this to other family events. It says, we canceled on going to my sister's house for Easter due to how my 2-year-old was acting, and now my mom is ignoring me. My 2-year-old has been throwing tantrums every day in the last week. I'm exhausted, and I decided to cancel Easter. I'm going to just summarize. Yeah, so I think, now my mom is really pissed off we didn't go, and it's like, really? Sure, our daughter might have calmed down once we got there, but I refuse to put the 3 of us through the stress to be there for an hour.
Good call.
There are times where it's like, this is all too exhausting.
Yeah.
And like, it kind of is like the thing, I was talking to a buddy about this recently. This guy was like, yeah, we're also only having one kid, and of course our parents want us to have more. And it's like, people who think you should run your family a certain way, it's like, why don't you come over and like be in the family with us while this shit is hitting the fan, and you tell us if we should come to Easter. Because we're all too tired. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah, you love me as a person, so like you gonna forgive me later because I'm gonna return.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, right now, whether you are mad or not, it doesn't matter. Like, I have a baby that needs me to change course.
Yeah.
So that's going to be my focus. I'll show up later to the party. You could do that. It is, we can miss the whole, egg thing. I'll buy her some eggs and show up for the drinks and the cake.
Right.
You know what I mean? But nah, man, like my kid acting up or my kid's going through something, that's going to change my agenda. It just is what it is. You know what I mean? And I understand grandma being mad. I get it. I'm not saying you shouldn't be. I'm just saying I'm still going to do this.
Especially if your track record is that you typically get out.
Show up.
You typically are all there or whatever. But like, if that's a recurring thing where you're always like, I can't, the kid, then I'm like, well, is the kid getting to see more people? Because like, if you're an introvert and or an avoidant person, like, don't pass that on to your kid.
Right.
But yeah, if the kid is just melting down, like
kid wins.
That means the kid needs some damn rest.
Yeah, let the kid take a nap.
I do remember being on the other side of it when I was a kid. I remember being at a Super Bowl party at my aunt and uncle's house, and we were young, and I'm one of 3. I have cousins similar in age, and I think we were all just fucking around, and things got really like heated. Like, we were like running around amok in this apartment that wasn't like big enough for that, And I remember my mom saying, if you guys don't settle down, we're leaving. And one thing led to another. I did, or someone did something obnoxious, and my mom was like, all right, let's go. Everybody in the car. And she drove us home like within like an hour of being there, or even 30 minutes or whatever. And I remember hating her so much for it. But now I get it. I get it. It's like, just get in line and chill out so we can all have a nice time.
You got to do it. Low key, I've done that to adults in my life.
Yeah.
Like, I've shown up to I did it to my dad. Like, I love the dude. But like, he will overdo a joke to the point of where people get mad. So my daughter name is Michaela. I am Gastor. My dad, even though everyone calls him Leo, but his name is Gastor as well. I'm a junior. So he wanted me to name my firstborn Gastor. We found out we're having a girl. I'm like, it doesn't work, Pops. He's like, nah, call her Gastora. I'm like, that is horrendous. I would never do that to my daughter. You know what I mean? So for the first like 6 months of her life, every time we went to my parents' house, he would say Gastora. And I'm like, yo, like she's getting old enough where like she's gonna hear that.
Yeah,
like, you don't say that. That's not her name. So like, I think we're like 8 or 9 months in. You know, she's still not a year old, but she's definitely now responding to names. We came over to the crib and he's like, Gastora's here. And I'm like, yo, Pop, that's the last Gastora. Yeah. And he's like, what you talking about? He's like, you call it Gastora again, I'm leaving. Yeah. You know? And he's like, what you talking about? He's like, yo, like, I love you. Respect. I'm not trying to start shit, but don't call my daughter anything but her name going forward. Yeah. And he's like, Gastor. And I was like, yo, honey, pack up the shit. And like, my mom was like, yeah, nah, for real, it's fine. I'm like, nah, like, I'm leaving. I need to, like, he needs to understand, like, I'm for real about this.
It's a real boundary.
Yeah, like, you fucking wish, like, I chose that name for a reason. Like, her full name is Michaela Justine. It's each of our grandmothers. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm like, I genuinely love her name. I would love to have named the kid Gastor. If I have another kid, Gastor, got you. Yeah. He'll be the third. But it's just not how it landed, and it wasn't my vision for my kids. Yeah. And you named me Gastor. That was your vision. I can't see Grandpa fucking with you for that. Right. You know what I mean? Right. He wasn't Gastor, the OG. You know what I mean? It was you. You chose this shit. That's cool. Let me now do what I want to do with my kid. You fucking up my shit. Yeah,
and that's such an interesting like thing where the father realizes his son is now his peer. Yeah. Because you're also a father, and you're going to have this man-to-man request, a respectful request, please call my kid her name. Yeah. And there will be consequences if you don't. Like, the assertiveness that requires, it feels uncomfortable for me to envision you in that scenario, and then the people around it witnessing it in a family party environment.
Dude, I packed up all our shit.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's great.
It wasn't fun, and I wanted to chill. My cousins were there, my family was there. You know what I mean? It was early on, and like, you know, the parenting aspect where like my days off were minimal. Yeah, I wanted to spend time with family, but also like I knew that it bothered me. I know it bothered my wife, and I felt like, yo, like this is a line, like my man, like this joke was cute. Maybe like when she was pregnant. Yeah. I'll even give you the like randomly saying it, but he said it every time we went over. Oh yeah. And like, yo, he lives a block away, so I saw this dude a lot. You know what I mean? Out of love, I love that he saw my kids that much, but this was not cool.
And you're a comic, so you hear a hack joke.
Yeah, I'm like, yo, my man, this is trash. Yeah. You know, so I'm like, yo, dude, you stepping on your own shit. It was funny once. Yeah. But yeah, like sincerely, it bothered me. So like, yo, homie, like I don't step on your toes often, but like right now you crossing the line for me. Yeah. And he ain't believe me. So he said it again, and I bounced.
I can remember my brother correcting our dad around little kid stuff. Like, I think my niece was crying, and my dad was saying, "Oh, come on, stop crying." Like, telling a baby to stop crying, or it's a toddler who can understand why. And I think my brother said, "Hey, just let her cry. You know, it's all good." And then he kept whatever he was doing. It was like. And eventually my brother had to say, like, hey, we let her feel her feelings, which, and I'm glad he said that, but that's our parents' generation never heard that phrase. Yeah. They're like, what does that even mean? You know what I mean? So yeah, there's some stuff. I let a lot of stuff slide. Like I will catalog it and I'll make fun of it later and I'll resent it in the moment, but I just like try to ignore. Unless, of course, there's something that's like somebody's fucking with the kid directly or whatever. But so I really respect people like you or my brother who have the presence of mind to say what they need in the moment and like stick up for themselves.
Yeah, you have to.
I think that's great.
I will say, like, my dad has always has a temper thing, and I have that in me, but I've worked very hard to not be that guy. Yeah. And the part of why I think it works, because I had to do this a few times, by the way. Yeah. Where like I did it once, I bounced, And then like I did it like 3 or 4 times within like the year, and he completely killed that joke. Like, he's like, okay, I'm never doing that shit.
Yeah.
Because he learned like, oh, Gastor's not fucking around with this.
Right.
But part of why it worked is because I never lost my temper. Every single time I did, it was like, all right, cool, pack up your stuff, time to go. And literally, even like my daughter was like a year and a half. Like she kind of like knew like what, like it was weird. Like, well, we just got here, and I'm like, nah, just daddy changed his mind. We gotta go home.
Yeah.
And I was just so chill about it. I even let my daughter kiss grandma goodbye, kiss grandpa goodbye, say goodbye to. Yep, he messed up. I know, but we still gotta say bye.
Yeah.
We're not being disrespectful. It's just he messed up, so we have to go home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Good
and
for
we
you, man.
Straight up.
Good for you.
Hell yeah.
I am
coaching up, baby. You know what I mean?
I'm a glutton for like discomfort and like just like I'll sit here in the I'll be annoyed with you quietly. I'll quietly seethe through this. Yeah. Man, good for you.
And also like real shit. I want my kids to know, yo, one day you might need to do that to me.
Exactly.
And I'm going to be cool with that.
Yeah.
I'm going to be hurt probably in the moment until I realize, nah, she's doing the right thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I have a talk with my kids all the time about that. Like, yo, my in-laws are traditional religious people.
Yeah.
My dad is like, I feel like he says he's a Democrat. I don't think he knows what it means anymore. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many conservative moments out of that dude.
Yeah.
But like, you know, I know their hearts are all in the right place. I genuinely believe they're good people. I don't agree with 1% of what they think.
Right.
99% of what my dad says, I agree with. Maybe 98. You know what I mean? I agree with. My in-laws, same thing. That's why I trust them with my kids.
Yeah.
I'm happy when they want to babysit. But yeah, every now and then they say something that I'm like, I'm not about that. And that's cool.
Yeah.
That's their belief system. Same with my in-laws. They're like hyper religious. There's things they say that it's not my vibe. And that's cool. So like I've told my kids, they're like ask me like, hey, like you don't believe in that. I'm like, that's okay. You know what I mean? But just because like they believe slightly differently on this, based on who they are, I think overall their intention is right. And I don't think this is damaging for them to believe that.
Yeah.
I'm okay if you believe that. I'm gonna just tell you my perspective and let you choose. Realistically though, there's certain things that come up that I know for a fact I'm right, because time and history has shown me that the younger generation tends to get these things right.
Yeah.
So I know with some of these, I feel adamant that I'm right and they're wrong, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I can't expect them to get the whole way there that I did.
Right.
But in turn, I'm telling you, as a man who is trying his best to be open-minded with the world, there's going to come a point where dad is going to reach his level of open-mindedness.
Oh, yeah.
And that is going to be it for me.
Yeah.
And you are going to come home and hear some weird thing that like you and your friends are like so evolved about that you know dad doesn't believe.
Yeah.
And I need you to be empathetic with that guy. 65-year-old me. I gave her examples. I was like a lot of your friends are probably like vegetarian and vegan, right? I was like, that was weird when I was growing up.
Right.
And I wouldn't be surprised if in like 20 years, everybody looks at people that eat steak as like, yo, y'all wow.
Yeah.
I'm a proud steak eater. That shit is not ending.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's no speech. There's no law change that's going to change that in my life.
Yeah.
I will find the cows. I promise you. You know what I mean? But you're going to have to like understand that like overall I'm trying. And if you really, really coach me, I'll get there. It's going to be harder, but like still believe in the good person I'm trying to be.
Well, if you get rid of some of those plants, you can make room for some cattle.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? Raise your own.
We need the plants to season them though.
Ultra local.
Oh yeah, baby. Farm to table.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah, there's gonna be a day like your kid might come home and be like, "Dad, I'm gonna marry a ghost."
God.
And you're like, no, we're not. Let's do one spicy one here, and then we'll say goodbye because we're this went fast. This says Playboy model claps back at mom's response to inappropriate outfit she wore to Disney. This lady was at Disney World. She's a 35-year-old Brazilian model. She's on the cover of Playboy Norway. She went to Disney and her look turned heads. And she covered up with long sleeve sweater and denim leggings. But online trolls are saying her look was too form fitting for a family theme park. So I guess the form we can. This is a New York Post article, by the way.
Oh yeah.
If you want to get a good look at that, I mean, this
Okay.
is despicable. I can't believe somebody would do this. I will never look at this picture again.
Safe.
I guess the format we could talk about this is: do you ever get uncomfortable with what people do with their bodies around your kids? Like, is there ever anything where you're just like, obviously, in normal life, not like some dude is like
Right.
flashing your kid. Of course, that's horrible. But like, does it like I guess I would be. There are certain environments where I'm just like, my kid, like, I'm trying to think of something where I'd be like, my kid doesn't need to see that. But I'm sure there are things, right?
I mean, I would just point it out, be like, that's crazy. Don't do that.
Yeah.
And I would do the whole like run, like, yeah, she's allowed to.
Yeah.
You're allowed to do a lot of things you shouldn't do.
Right.
But you can do them. There's nothing wrong in the sense that like you won't be punished and you shouldn't be. There's probably perception things you gotta keep in mind. But overall, I would say don't do that because it says something about you, and it might not be true, but people are gonna assume it.
Yeah, and I guess also as the fathers of daughters, like, at what point do you police what they're wearing? Do you ever police it, or do you just make gentle suggestions? Yeah, man, I'm not looking forward to any of that.
It's rough. I mean, my daughter's dope with all that, thankfully.
Yeah.
Not in the sense that she's doing what I say, but in the sense that without me saying, she's making this a lot easier for me.
Right.
So I don't have to say much.
Yeah.
But I don't know how I would say anything if she was wildly inappropriate. It would be easier, but like if there's something that like was borderline, I don't know how I'd bring it up directly. I'd probably honestly tell Gabby, hey, like, what's up with that, and have her kind of give me a read on like, is this part of the culture that I'm missing? Is this part of like women's fashion that I'm missing? I wouldn't jump to an answer right away. With that,
I think that's a great approach though. Like I wonder if you could, like, let's say you've got a 16-year-old daughter. She's showing a lot of her body with whatever she's chosen to wear. Like, can it start with, hey, I don't even know what I want to talk about, or I don't even know what I want to get across to you, but could we just like talk about it? And it's making me feel uncomfortable. I'm not even sure why yet, but could we all just talk about it as a family? Like, I wonder if that would successfully lead to a productive conversation, or at that age, is the kid just going to be like, fuck you, dad? You know? Like,
in my house, I would definitely not say that, only because I also have a son.
Yeah.
So his input is not needed in this convo
right. Yeah. Yeah.
He would just like make too many jokes. So I would keep him out. But in general, I like your approach. I don't know. I think it depends on the kid and you and your relationship with them. I also think it depends a lot on the kid's strengths. My daughter is very comfortable checking people. And she's very comfortable in who she is, and I think that I'd lean more towards if you could defend it, you could do it. Kind of like with her. Whereas if she would have shown me that she's like a follower or someone who is more prone to not being able to defend themselves in certain settings, I'd be more conservative, I think, leaning with what I would want for her to do. Only to minimize the potential things that could happen. But who knows? I don't know how to nail this shit, man.
I'll tell you what I want. I want uniforms. I'm pro uniform.
Real talk. I wear Dickies for a reason. B.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Let's simplify all this.
I want to be able to blame the state. Like, hey, I want you to wear that low-cut shirt too, but the state says you have to wear a polo shirt.
Real
I'm sorry.
talk. You have to.
That's
every
as
day.
Sexy as you can be at school. Anyway, I guess one other thing I wanted to touch on with this specific story is like beauty standards. Like, I am starting to get uncomfortable with people will give Franny stuff. Like, we were at a restaurant, a lady gave her a bracelet off her own hand because Franny's cute. She's a cute kid.
Oh yeah.
they'll say things to her. And in a world where people are obsessed with beauty, I do think it's important to if I was at Disney World and my kid was like, what is that over there? And it's like a person dressed like this in public. There's stuff to talk about. I don't know exactly how to talk about it or whatever, but like, I don't know. It's like, yes, some people think that's beautiful. It might not be appropriate for this situation, but also it's okay if you don't look that way, or if you don't, like, I don't even know how to say any of that stuff. It's all stuff that, like, I'm just starting to feel like is going to have to get talked about eventually.
Yeah.
You know?
I would lean towards like, yo, I'm not in shape. So the work that it takes to be in shape, props to her.
Yeah,
Real
yeah,
talk.
yeah.
That's incredible that she's accomplished that.
That's important to her for
you know what I mean?
reason.
Yeah, like that's a part of her identity that she's in shape and she wants to maintain that. That's fire.
Yeah.
But like, you got to wear the right thing for the right event. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not saying this ain't appropriate gear for life.
Yeah.
It just might not be the appropriate gear for this. You know
if
what
you're
I
going
mean?
to play football, you got to wear pads.
Exactly. Real talk. You know what I mean? There's a place for that. It's just not here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not saying you can't rock that, but just in general, I never want to talk about your sexuality.
Right. Yeah.
Somebody will in your life, and I hope that person happens to come into your life, and y'all have a beautiful life together.
Yeah.
And I will be there for certain moments, and whenever I'm there, your sexuality should not be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty like safe assumption.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't want your sexuality to not exist.
You care about your I care about your safety.
Yeah.
But I don't need to know details.
There's certain parts of that ain't my business or shouldn't be in my purview.
Right.
But I want you to also have them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
interesting. I feel like you're on the cusp of having to get into this stuff. At some point.
Yo. That's what, you know what? Sometimes I don't know the answers, and that's what this just highlighted, and I got to do research now.
Yeah.
Real talk. If you see me asking random questions on Reddit later, help.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I can't wait for the day when I come in with a question and you're like, oh, I know this one because I wrote it.
Real talk. I'm on Reddit under my name, so I'm not even hiding.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Y'all can if you see me asking questions, help.
One thing I'll say for the parents of younger kids around body stuff, we love this book, Bodies Are Cool. It's all about like the different kinds of shapes and sizes and colors that bodies can come in, the different changes bodies undergo for different reasons. There's stuff about scars and amputations. There's all this. It's like this amazing book, and it's very lyrical. The prose is great. The illustrations are great. So shout out to Bodies Are Cool. It won't help your kids.
Not at all. It's too late.
Yeah.
My dad calls scars degrees. He said you get them when you learn something.
Oh, that's nice. I like that though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. We gotta get Leo in here.
No, we
Let's
don't.
get a third chair.
Let's never do that. That would be the end of my career. Real talk. Let's keep my dad as far away from microphones as possible.
My dad's first question would be, can I smoke? All right. Thanks for hanging, everybody. See you next time.
Peace.